Okay, welcome everybody. I am a few minutes early, and of course my phone's going off, so give me just a few minutes while I can get the comments loaded in, and we'll get started in about, we'll probably give it about 4 or 5 minutes. All right, come on in, make yourself at home, and we're going to do a fun fold stamp card today. So give me a minute while I load in the comments so I can see who's chatting today. Can't see my message. Hopefully I've got it in here. Okay, let's see. All righty, let's see. Oh, that's in show on stream. That must be YouTube. All right, let me just post something else in here for our YouTube people. Welcome, everyone. Oops. What in the wild world of sports? No, we don't want to do this. I'm hitting buttons and my computer's doing all sorts of wacky stuff. All right, what are we doing here? No, we don't want that. Come back over here. Here we go. Let's try this again. I'll be with you all in just a minute. I'm typing another message. Okay. All right, let's see what's going on. Give it a few more minutes and we're going to get started. We're going to do a fun fold. All right. All righty, let's see. All righty. Let me adjust the camera just a tad, and then we'll, all right, see what the time is. All right, it's 12:01. We're going to give about 2 more minutes, and then we'll get started for Fundamental Friday. And in the meantime, I guess I need to get my act together here, huh? I need some ink. So we've got our ink in together. And what else do we need? I think we're all set. All right. Hey there. All righty. All right, come on in. And we'll be ready to start Fundamental Friday here in just a minute or two. All right, so who has plans for this weekend and what are y'all doing? Let me know. Let me make sure that we are live on Facebook. Let me just double check that real quick. I did log in, but let's make sure. Let's see. All right, are we on Facebook? Hang on. It's not up. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, we are good to go. All right, welcome everyone. And I've got the volume off on that, so we're not going to double hear ourselves. All right. I am live, but let me get my comments. All right, let's get back to the page. All right, here we go. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to introduce myself, and then we'll get started with this. This probably is not going to take more than 30 minutes or so, just to let you know that. We're doing one card, and then I've got a couple of extra ones that I've made just to show you what it looks like using different pattern paper. So welcome, everyone. I'm Dawn Duvall. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I've been doing this craziness for about 14 years. I live in Fort Myers, Florida, and today we are going to do a Stairway Z Fold Fun Fold card. It's a mouthful. It looks absolutely stunning, but it's extremely easy to put together. I was shocked at how easy it was. So welcome, everyone. All right, Phyllis, I'm glad you found me. Hey, Karen. Hello. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And again, like I said, it's probably not going to take that long. I've got everything pre-cut and measured out, so it really won't take us probably 30 minutes. So if you're on your lunch hour, you'll have plenty of time to eat lunch if you're not doing that while you're watching me. So, all right. The first thing I need to do is I'm going to adjust my camera because I got to move it so I can show you the down on the table. So give me just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So this is the fun part when I have to reorganize so y'all get to watch me move the camera. All right, hold on. Is that right? Nope. We got to flip that. There we go. To get it flipped so y'all can see what we're doing here. All right, let me move the arm out a little bit and get into the table here. I'm going to try to move this back. All right, let me get back here a little bit more. I do like the camera because it does allow me to adjust the height and the camera itself, but I'm going to hang on a minute. This is the part that takes a while. All right, there we go. I think that looks good. Perfect. All right, let me get myself in the camera. I'm going to move my thing up one a little bit. Just give me a second. All right, there we go. All right, this is the card that we're going to be making. Isn't this gorgeous? This is what's called a Stairway Z Fold. And look at this. So watch, it's very simple, but look, it looks, I thought it was going to be a lot more complicated than it is. But all we're going to do is cut the strips of paper and glue those to the front of the card. And that gives it that stairway look. So look at that. See how it's just attached? All right. This is done in Petal Pink, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to use the same color scheme, and then I'll show you two other cards. One's a birthday, and then one is a sympathy card. One of our neighbor's wife passed away, so I thought, oh, this is a great opportunity so I can use it and make a card that I can do for two things. So, all right, we're going to use the Right Word stamp set, and that is the one that says, to someone worth celebrating every single day. And then on the inside, it says happy birthday. So we're going to use that for this set. And then the other one that one of the other cards I'm going to show you, we used this stamp set. Here's a card, which is retired. So just to let you know. So let me move those out of the way. And now I'm going to give you the measurements as we go along. And I've already got everything cut. It's a little bit, it's not as hard as it looks. It's very simple, but there's just several pieces that, we're going to have quite a few pieces. And I would probably encourage you, if you have seal, I use the Tombow glue, but I will be using seal on because some of the pieces we're going to emboss, which I've already done, and I'll tell you which folder I did. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, let me pull my paper trimmer in because we got to do some scoring. All right, your card base is going to be a little bit shorter than what we normally do. So the card base is 5 inches, so it's going to be 5 inches by 8 1/4. All right, so make sure I've got it lined up. It's at 5 at 8 1/4. And then we're going to score this at 2. We're going to score at 2 inches. So get it lined up and score at 2 and then slide it down to the 4-inch mark. And that's all we have to do. Okay. And I think we cut it down just to allow for some of the pieces. So, all right. So there's our card base. And this is petal pink that I'm using, in case you're wondering. All right. So we're going to fold this back because that's going to be our Z fold, right? And then fold this up. We're going to use our bone folder. We're going to give this a good crease right here. And again, it's really an easy card. Okay. So there's our base. Now, the next thing that you're going to need is a 4 by 4 3/4 basic white, and that's going to go on the inside here. Okay. Then we're going to take a piece of designer paper, and you want to have this that's going to coordinate with the front of the card. So you can see how I've done here, and then I'm using the flowers from the Xenia. I think the set's retired paper, if I'm not mistaken. So you're going to cut a piece of pattern paper that is 3 3/4 by 4. And then you want to put that in your paper trimmer at an angle. So you want to put your corner to corner, put it in there, and then you're going to cut at it so it gives you a diagonal. And this is the piece that we're going to use for the inside of the card, which will go on that piece of white that I just shared with you. So let's go ahead and add that to this. I'm going to put the flower side up. So I'm going to go ahead and just add my adhesive. If I can get it out. Hang on. I know it's got glue in it. All right, we're going to pull in another one. This one I know has glue because it's new. All right, so we're going to add the adhesive. And I'm going to put a little bit in the center because you never have enough, right? And then that's going to go on this inside piece. So we're going to lay that right here. And we're going to butt it right up into this right corner. And then you'll have another half from the sheet that you've cut. So you'll be able to make 2 cards with this. All right. So that's going to go on the inside. I'm not going to glue that down yet because we're going to stamp our inside sentiment. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you want to choose 3 pieces of cardstock of your coordinating with your card base. And then I ran these through one of the 3D exposed embossing folder. And this, you need 3 pieces, and those sizes are, you're going to need one that's going to be 1 inch by 2 1/4. So 1 inch by 2 1/4. And then we're going to do a 1 inch by 3 1/4. And then we're going to do one that is 1 inch by 4 1/4. And as you can see on my card, this is the top layer, 1 by 2 1/4. 3 1/4, and then 4 1/4. And that's going right up against the base of our card. Okay. So that's that part. And then you're going to have 2 pieces of designer paper, whatever coordinates. So just choose designs that you like that's going to coordinate. So you need, for the second step of your stair, you're going to cut that at 1 by 2 3/4 inch. Let me make sure. Yeah. 1 by 2 3/4. And then the other piece, which I've got in the floral, is 1 inch by 3 3/4. Okay, so 1 by 3 3/4. And then this one is 1 by 2 3/4. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and make our layering. Now, what I recommend, because if you are going to emboss this, I think it's easy, even if you're not, I'm going to take my seal and I'm going to run glue on this flap right here on the left flap. Whoops, let me get my seal. Because rather than trying to determine how much glue to put on the back of your paper, because I did this yesterday, I put it all over and then I realized, oh, I shouldn't have done that because you're going to see it right here. So you don't want to put it after it goes outside of that fold because otherwise it's going to stick to the inside of your card. So just place your adhesive, whatever your favorite adhesive is, on the front fold here that we're going to use as our base to build our steps. So I'm just placing it all around the outside of the 4 edges. Okay. And then all we're going to do is start layering, and you're going to butt it up to the edge. So I'm taking my first piece and I'm going to butt it up there, get it all the way to the top. And using the seal, you've got to be careful because once you stick it down, it's going to be hard to remove it. But if it goes over a little bit, then just get your paper snips and you can snip it when you get done. It's not a big deal. All right, so we're going to take that one. Now our second layer is going to be the next piece of designer paper. So we're going to butt those up. There's not going to be any spaces between the two. So this one's going to go right up underneath, and we're going to lay that one down. So see how easy it is to adhere it once we already have the glue there. All right, so our third step, again, is another piece that was embossed. And we're going to, my fingers are getting stuck. We're going to move that up to the edge of the left side of the card. And we're going to butt that up to the piece right above it and push down. And then we're going to take our next piece, which is the flowers, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to layer these in to give it the stair step effect. And then our last piece is the last embossed piece. Now, if this happens to be a little bit bigger, it's hanging down off the side, the bottom, then which this one is. So we will come back with our paper snips, and we're going to snip that off so it doesn't hang over. And this one, you can probably get away with it because it blends in with the cardstock. You really can't see it. It's not going to affect being in the card either. And if you have a little bit on the side, we can trim up that as well. And I have a little piece right here. Now, if you don't trim it, it's fine. No one's going to see this. But I know some of you all like to have it look perfectly. So we're just going to come in with our paper snips, lean it against the edge of your cardstock, and you're just going to cut off those few little shreds right there. All right. And there's your card. Isn't that just amazing how easy this is? All right. So now we're going to go ahead and add our inside piece, but I'm going to stamp my sentiment before I stamp it, before I put it on the inside of the card. I'm using Melon Mambo, which is one of the ink colors that coordinate with the flowers paper that I chose. And I'm making this a birthday card. So I'm just going to ink up my birthday stamp. And I'm just going to place it right here. Again, you're only going to have the room from the triangle down on the white to write. So if you don't like to write a lot, then you don't have to worry about it because you're not going to have a lot of space. So I'm going to stamp that right there. And then I'm going to move that off to the side. Now I can go ahead and add this to the inside of my card. I told you this is going to be an easy card. All right, so there's that. All right, so we're going to place this in here. And we've got it scored again. The card is scored at 2 and 4. So we're going to place that inside, give it our border. All right, and that's done. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp the sentiment. Now, I used one of my dies to cut a rectangle. You use whatever you have in your stash that's going to fit whatever sentiment you want to use. And this is going to be to someone worth celebrating every single day. So again, we're going to use that. I want to make sure I've got my die cut piece down in the right face in the right direction. And we're going to stamp right there. And look at that. You'd think I was a professional. Okay, so we've got that done. Whoopsie. All right, now we're going to add some dimensionals on here. And we can add some ribbon. This particular one, I added this, I'm not even sure what this is called. This was that linked twine. And it's a little bit thick. I put that on this one, but I think I'm just going to do regular twine and tie a double bow. So let's put some dimensionals on here. And we'll get the twine out so we can tie our bow. So let's get the dimensionals, and then we will tie a bow. All right, so now that I'm down to the edges, we're going to trim off some of these edge pieces so we get every bit of use out of our dimensionals. And I usually put 4 on the outside and then 1 on the in the center, just to keep it from falling. Okay, so I'm not going to peel that off yet. We're going to go ahead and do a bow, and we're going to use a glue dot to adhere it. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in a glue dot. I'm going to go ahead and place it where I want my ribbon to go. So I've got my these little tweezers, and I'll pull that up if I can get a hold of it. All right, I'm going to put it right here in the center. So I'm going to lay that little glue dot right there. And then once we get our ribbon tied, then I'll attach it to that, okay? So let's go ahead and cut. I'm hoping, I don't think I did enough to do. Let's try, see if we can do a double bow. All right, what do you think so far? Oh, hi, Diane, how are you? I know, isn't this a cute card? It really is, and it's so easy. So if you're just starting out paper crafting, this is a nice card and it's easy to do. All right, so let's see if we can do a double. We can tie a double bow. So give me a second. We're going to wrap this around and pull that through. Hang on a minute. Yeah, we're going to do that. Well, hang on. No, we're not. Okay. Hold on a second. My twine is getting all twisty. All right. How about if we just we'll do bunny ears. All right, we're going to do bunny ears. So you make like you've got 2 bunny ears, and then we're going to wrap them together. Wrap them around. And then we're going to fold it. Let's try that again. All right, let's do it this way. Hang on. We're going to go this way. There we go. We're going to do it this way. This is a lot easier. The one thing about the twine, since it's wrapped on a roll, you have to really stretch it to get the loops out of it, right? Because it keeps wanting to curl up. There we go. And we'll pull that through. And then we're going to pull this tail out a little bit and shorten the bow. So give me just a minute while we work on that. All right, hang on a minute. My piece just fell through. Let's try that one more time. I told you guys, don't do what I do. All right, let's try one more time. We got a little bow. We got a little knot in there. All right, so we're going to redo that. Okay. The double bows always look nice. That's why I want to do double bow. All right, let's start this way. Okay. Here we go. Let's wrap it, pull it through. This way I don't have all the little tiny pieces. There we go. And then we're going to try to shorten these guys so they don't get too much on there. Pull it down, make it smaller. And then this one we need to pull. All right, so we're going to tighten that up. Okay, there we go. And we're going to pull our little tails down a little bit, pull this guy down. And then we're going to cut that side right there to make our tails for the other side. And now we have, I'm going to trim those up just a little bit. I'm using my ribbon shears or scissors. All right, there we go. All right, so now we have the double bow. Isn't that pretty? And then if you want to shorten it, again, if it's too big, just pull your strings down. And then that will help make it smaller. And then we can loop those up. There we go. So we're going to put that right on top of that glue dot. And if those look too long, which I think they do, we're just going to trim them one more time. Trim that down and trim that one down. All right. So now we're just going to take these off the back. And if you're just joining, I went over the dimensions. I gave you all the dimensions in the first part of the video, so you'll just have to go back and watch it. All right, so we're going to lay this right here, and you can place it wherever you want. I'm going to place it kind of towards the center to the left side. All right, and then there is our Stairway Z Fun Fold card. Isn't that cute? All right, now let me show you the other two that I made just to show you what they look like using different papers. So this one is using one of the scrapbooking kits that we have, and this is using our wild wheat, which is retiring, but it coordinates with this beautiful Lost Lagoon paper. So again, I did the embossed 3D embossed folder, the timber one, and then open it up, and then you've got happy birthday on this one. But look how, isn't that beautiful? I just love those colors. And then here's one that I made as a sympathy card. This is using some of the retired paper that just retired this past, just recently. This is one of the in the fall catalog. And again, this is with Pretty Peacock, and you can see it's got the red and peacock and Lost Lagoon and some gorgeous grape colors in there. And this gorgeous. And then open that up, and I've got my sentiment again on the inside and the outside. So that is such a quick and easy card to make. So there you go. I told you it was going to be a short video today. Well, thanks, Karen. I know, isn't it cute? Yes, you can call me Phyllis. I'll be done. Call me whenever you want. Okay, everybody, that is all we're going to do for today. So thank you for joining me for Fundamental Friday. If you need anything or want to purchase any of the supplies, there's a link below the video that has my the link to that, as well as a link to my other crafting tools that I use that Stampin' Up doesn't carry. So you can look at those as well. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment, and then I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. But again, thank you for taking a few minutes out of your Friday afternoon and watching my Stairfold Z Fold card. So if you create any of these, make sure you come back and post it on the page so that everybody can see what you've done. All right, thank you again, and I will see you next Tuesday evening. Oh, you know what? Hang on a minute. Am I going to see you next Tuesday? I know we've got a concert coming up. Let me see. I'm not sure if it's next Tuesday or the following Tuesday. Let me see for June. Yes, I will be back live on June 3rd. Okay, thanks everyone. Thank you for joining me during your lunch hour. I greatly appreciate it. And if you have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, I will see you next Tuesday evening, 7 o'clock, Facebook and YouTube. All right, thanks again, everyone.